Additional questions for Aric? Go to Mark.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Besides the question I was going to ask, every time I look at you and see you with Joe Gibbs now, I just remember the race in Milwaukee and how far apart you guys had to be at that point, and that yet it circles back around. I'm always continually amazed by this story. What are your expectations getting in and out on a part-time basis? I mean, is it I can win every time? I mean, what are you expecting?
Yeah. Well, I'll start with the first part of that is, yeah, I mean, I was hurt. I was deeply hurt at Milwaukee when I had to get out of the race car. But, you know, looking back on it, I understand. I still don't like it, right? But I understand. It was in Milwaukee. The CEO of Rockwell Automations was there. He didn't really understand racing, and all he knew was that Denny Hamlin was their driver, and he was sitting on the pit box and wanted him in the car, right? And so, yeah, I think, yeah, for me, I was pretty hurt by that, and that led, you know, that and the fact that I didn't see a real opportunity for me to grow my career at Joe Gibbs Racing. They had just signed Kyle Busch to come over to replace J.J. Yaley. And so, like, I didn't really see where there was a path for me to go cup racing at Joe Gibbs Racing. And at that same time, Mark Martin called me and said, "Hey, I want you to come share this car with me," which was very appealing to a 22, 23-year-old kid to go share a car with Mark Martin and have the opportunity to learn from him. And so I went and talked to JD and Coach at the time. Coach was going back and forth between the Redskins. He had just went back to coach the Redskins, but would still come back after the football season. And so that was kind of during the summertime, and I remember meeting with Coach and JD. I still had a contract to be at Joe Gibbs Racing, and so I asked them to let me out of my contract to go do that opportunity with Mark Martin. And I remember, plain as day, JD said, "Absolutely, I want what's best for you. When I hired you here, I wanted what was best for you, and I hoped that it would be at Joe Gibbs Racing for your entire career, but I'm not going to hold you back from an opportunity like this. The only thing I'll tell you is that I hope you come back." And yeah, here I am, 16 years later from that time, I'm back. And so, I think that's just a testament to the Gibbs family. I mean, I have pictures. I was going through them the other day. I put one out on social media of JD coming to Richmond to watch me run my first race, which meant the world to me. But I have other pictures from when I left and when I was, driving the Army car with Mark Martin, when I was driving for Dale Jr. In the Xfinity Series. I have pictures of JD and me on pit road, sharing a laugh together, sharing a moment together, him coming to give me a hug. He came to my wedding, right? I wasn't driving for Joe Gibbs Racing anymore. I got married in 2010, and JD was at my wedding, right? So I just have always had a great relationship with the Gibbs family, and on a professional side, Milwaukee hurt, but from a personal side, they've meant a lot to me. So when Coach called me and asked me to come back home to Joe Gibbs Racing, and that's exactly how he phrased it, it was kind of a no-brainer for me. It just felt right. So I'm excited about that, and being able to finish out my chapter at where it started. Not a lot of people get that opportunity, so I think that's really special to have that opportunity to do that. And then as far as racing, yeah, I would expect to be very competitive in their race cars. I mean, their race cars are some of the best in the Xfinity garage, but I think too you have to be realistic, right? And doing it on a part-time basis and going against all of these drivers and these teams that do it each and every week is going to be really hard. Even you take Cup guys, you take William Byron and all these guys, they go run super late model races, and they run a handful of them a year. They don't go and win and dominate, right? Because they're going against the best super late model racers, and those guys do it week in and week out. And so it's really challenging to go and compete against anybody when they're at the top of their game and they're doing it every single week. And so for me, I realize that is going to be a challenge. It's not a shoe-in that I'm going to win every time I climb into a Joe Gibbs Racing Xfinity car. There is a lot of great teams. There's a lot of good young drivers and talented guys that are coming up through that series, and they do it every week. So every week when they get in the race car to go fire off for practice, they know exactly what to expect out of the race car, where I'm going to be kind of feeling it out. I haven't drove an Xfinity car on an oval in a long, long time. So yeah, I think for me, it'll come, but I'm going to be a little bit slower to get up to speed in practice. I probably won't qualify as good. And halfway through the race, it'll probably all start to click.